Look at him. Just dickered. Just dickered, boys. Son of a bitch.
Yo, yo. Class A and macro. Not connected, not elected to participate. Bouncing down the
Hey everybody, welcome back to Take or Why. This is episode 273. This is my third attempt at starting this fucking episode. If I jump right into the sponsors, I feel like that's rude. But it's not. It's these people help me get the show to you. But I want to just say hi. I want to see how you guys are doing and how your week was. I know you can't answer, but hopefully it was good. It's getting hot. Summer's coming. It's a good time. I really hope to read a book outside. I think that'd be nice. I have a nice little patio set out back, and I need to use that shit. Getting excited for this fucking heavy MTL that's coming up with the Sabs. It's funny with that. There's like, it's so pro. It's so fucking pro. The contract they send and all the details and the phrasing, it's real big boy shit. Like, I don't know what some of this stuff means. I remember when Sabs did just to go on a tangent here, we played with CKY once, and that was the first time I heard the term deads. Like, where are you guys putting your deads? Like, I don't know what deads are, but too afraid to say something. So like, oh, over here. Yeah, getting excited for that. I just think of the heat. I think of playing outside and how hot it might be, and just summer, man. My little brother's getting married. It's going to be a fucking good summer. I hope it is anyways. But enough little rant from me. Let's jump into the sponsors. These people help me get the show to you, like I said, and they believe in placing ads, and I think you guys can benefit from what they have. It's good stuff. I want to line myself up with good people, and all these people are good people, so let me bang them out. Do you have a pet? Do you have a dog? Do you love your dog? If you love your dog, you might get some Brood Biscuits. How's that? Brood Biscuits are an all-natural spent grain pet treat company from Norfolk County. You can order online. I think that's really important because not everyone listening is from around here. But basically what it is they upcycle spent grains, BSGs, brewer's spent grains. So a brewer, when they make their wort, which is like the sugar water, it's their oats and barley that have been steeped in water. And this company uses these spent, quote-unquote spent grains to make some pet treats. They're all natural. There's no alcohol or hops or salt or sugar. Really good. Ocho loves them. My dog loves them. Baked in a commercial kitchen, and I sat down with Barb, one of the co-owners, and she's awesome. It was really dope. I saw that she did some not a flea market, but sort of some convention, and they had their booth set up. She had to take her white shirt on, so that was really sweet. So if you guys want to support Barb and what they're doing, go to twospentgrains.ca, TWOspentgrains.ca, and order a bag. I have a bag on me too. I'm planning on doing another giveaway, but if someone just wants to hit me up, I also have those. So go check them out. Instagram, it's Brood Biscuits, I believe, on Instagram. They're all tagged on my stuff, so find them there. Heartbeat Hot Sauce. If you guys like hot sauce, eat Heartbeat Hot Sauce. They have a new pineapple sauce coming out, a new pineapple hot sauce, which looks great. Heartbeat Hot Sauce is a little side passion project that exploded. My buddy Al and his partner Nancy got some red habaneros at their job when he was a chef and just made a small batch of shit, and people wanted more. And then fast forward years, not even that, like 3 years ahead, and it's their full-time gig. They have a storefront in Thunder Bay. They were on season 6 of Hot Ones. I just saw they got a production line machine in their shop there. It's fantastic, man. It's just good hot sauce. They have the jalapeno, they have the red habanero, the blueberry habanero, like the pineapple one I said. They have a new pre that was done in collaboration with Heatonist, and Heatonist are the New York guys that are behind the Hot One show, I believe. A lot of you have tried it. If you haven't, though, order some. Go to heartbeathotsauce.com and order it there. You can find them in stores across Canada and the States, and maybe even the UK, which I should mention because this guest is from the UK. But yeah, heartbeathotsauce.com. Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota is a car salesman in the 519 area, Cambridge, Guelph, Waterloo, Kitchener. If you or your mom or your uncle or dad or anyone you know is interested in buying a new car, why don't you go see Rigo? Rigo is a great dude. He supports me. He supports the DIY ethic, and he's an honest man. He'll make the process fun. I really imagine that. Imagine one day this podcast could, get to the point where I could afford like a company car. Imagine that. Fuck yeah, I'd go to Rigo. I'd go grab a car from him. You can find him at 3121 King Street East in Kitchener. Go say hi, mention the show, and you'll get special pricing on new vehicles. Next, Ironclad Graphics. They're a silk screening company out in Kingston, and they did my shirts, they did my pins, they did my patches, they do stickers, enamel pins, they do everything. They've been in the game for a long time. So if you're not sure or if you don't know where you're going to get your next batch of shit done, go see them, ironcladgraphics.com. They ship coast to coast, competitive with their pricing. They do really good work. Ironcladgraphics.com. If you have a beard if you don't, it doesn't really make sense. But if you have a beard and you want to have it smell good, use Dapper Beard Oil. Dapper Beard Oil is my friend Andrew from Ottawa running this company. And it's a really good beard oil. It's ethically sourced, 100% natural ingredients. It helps hydrate. It'll repair your beard. It's antibacterial. It reduces beard dandruff. It's a really good beard oil. He's been doing it for fucking years now too. And yeah, it's not, I mention this all the time, but it's not like... It's not like I think of this like Axe body spray is intense. I feel like it's like how Tabasco sauce is a hot sauce. It's not really, and like Axe is like, I don't know. I feel like Axe is for like, Axe could be sold in Hot Topic. It's like, it smells really good, but I don't feel like it's curated with passion. Maybe it is. I'm totally talking out of my ass, but Andrew is passionate about his business and about his company, which is the same thing, but he's a passionate guy about his art, I should say. He's an artist too. He's a photographer who takes great photos, and that same sort of care is in his company. It's really good stuff. I'll rant and rant, but you got to just order it and use Taker-wide free shipping. So just save some money, order it, and see if you like it. I'm pretty sure you will. It's really, really good stuff. DapperBeardOil.com. Lastly, Wellington Brewery. Wellington Brewery is Canada's oldest independently owned microbrewery. It's delicious beer. They make delicious beers. I'm half a beer in, and I'm fucking getting sauced. It's the heat. I blame the heat. They craft award-winning beers in small batches using the freshest all-natural ingredients. Hell's Lagers are great. I've been doing the Rhubarb Saison. Upside IPAs, they're all good. There's not really one I don't like. If you're out and about, grab some of those, Wellington. So let's get to the guest. This guest is Michael Williams. He plays in Quiet Lions from Brighton, UK, sorry. And they have a new record coming out this Friday, I believe. And it was fun to talk to him. It was first time meet, and we got into recording the album and songwriting and struggles and all the stuff that encompasses this show. It's a good way to get to know this guy, and the music's great. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Taker-wide 273 with Michael. Thanks for doing this.
Hey. Cheers, man. You got a beer, have you?
Hell yeah. Tasty
I've
beer.
got a beer as well.
What do you got? Budweiser. Hey.
Yeah, this is for you, mate.
That's like, I guess, an import for you, right?
Yeah. It's cheap from the local shop, so it's
whatever, man.
Done, really.
Whatever. That makes me think of my dad. My dad loves Bud.
Really?
Oh yeah. So Budweiser.
It's okay, isn't it? It's not gonna, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a beer. Like, I feel like people who know shit about beer are bullshitting. I think they don't know. When people are like, I like this type, it's like, I think you just like beer.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but sometimes I like a nice beer, like an IPA or something like that. But sometimes I just want a lager, like a Bud. And that's it really. And this is one of those times. So
yeah. Well, we'll get loose, man. We'll talk about the record, and so this will go out on the Monday before the record launches. So
wicked.
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect timing, man. And how do you feel? It's done. Like, it's such an effort to put a record out. Like, I don't know, tired or excited or what?
Excited and a bit tired. It took like 2.5 years really to get it together to where it is now. So it's been quite a journey, and it's been, it's been fun at times. It's been stressful at other times as well. But I think now we've got to a point where, we're almost there, which is great. So really happy.
This is the debut from you guys too, right? Debut full length. Is there like, So it takes 2.5 years. Kind of was that. Do you think you overthought things because it's a debut record?
I think so. Yeah, we were not in a rush. We were not being pushed by a label. We were not being pushed by management or anything like that. So we were very much working on it on our own, and really refining and going back and like taking things into rehearsal rooms, recording. We went through must have been like 2 or 3 stages of demoing,
Wow.
just
Okay.
tightening things up, and so we had time on our side basically, and
That's.
we kind of we used that to the best of our ability really,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to not have. I think when you're a kid and you start music and you have these ideas of a label and this and that,
Yeah.
and then as I get older, I think like how terrible it would be if you did have a deadline. Like fuck.
Yeah.
Like how do you create good art with a deadline? Maybe that's how people work, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably nice to have that much time. When you said demoing, when you guys are demoing, that's the thing I'm always curious about people's methods. Is it you'll have a jam hall thing and you listen to it in the vehicle a lot while you're driving? Like what kind of methods did you guys use to hone the 12 tracks?
So I think originally what it was that what we did was we went away and we kind of like we did writing weekends where we would go almost like a kind of summer camp, kind of we're in a thing in a way where it was just the four of us in a house, all of the equipment there, all set up, all mic'd up, ready to go.
Oh, cool.
We would sleep there and we would cook there.
Okay.
And so in advance of those sessions, I'm the principal songwriter, so I would kind of get all the ideas together, would come in and we'd just play, and we had all this time. We could just do what we wanted really.
Nice.
And so that was the first part of it really. So that was the first initial demo staging, and then we would take it away and we'd kind of work on it outside of those weekends, and then we did another weekend where we kind of honed it again. And no, it worked well that way. But again, it was very time consuming. This took months to do. And
yeah. This like your previous bands, you learned so much. This like music thing is there's no real book on how to do it. So you're gonna figure things out, make mistakes. What kind of mistakes did you avoid from previous bands' experience?
I think just again, it's rushing. You refer to the creative process and you say it's rushing it and pushing it. It doesn't do it any favors at all. And I think so having in the past, with this band and with previous bands I've been in, we've rushed stuff, and then you listen back to what you've created and you're like, well, oh man, like I wish we'd done something slightly different there. I'm not happy with that take, that kind of stuff. And it's a real shame when you have something that's kind of, you have a CD or a record and you're like, oh well, God, I wish I'd changed that. So I think that was the real difference this time around, was that hopefully we managed to get all of that kind of out of the way before we tracked it. So yeah, that was the main difference, I think.
Did you were there tracks that didn't make the record?
There was one or two, but the majority of it was all written over one weekend musically, and then the lyrics went through a few kind of stages of kind of refining, but the majority, there was one or two tracks that didn't make it that we didn't actually record either, but the majority of what of 2 years work is all on the album really. So which is good, because I think we're happy with it, we're happy with how it sounds. We couldn't have had it any other way really. I think. So are you the main, would you say you're the primary songwriter? Are you the guy like bringing ideas in? Yes, yeah. So yeah, I'll bring them in on just like something really, really simple on acoustic guitar. That's my primary instrument that I would go to, acoustic or electric. Come in with a guitar part and maybe a vocal hook, or like a few lines of lyrics, and then from there we would take it to the rehearsal room, work on it as a group, and then take away a recording, and then it may chop and change from what I had, but it would that's how it would start really. I see. Yeah. Do you write the lyrics too? Yeah. Okay. Do you find it harder to apply lyrics after, like, or will you write lyrics first, and will that kind of form how the song's going to be, versus like this is going to be like a slower, sadder song, or this is going to be a more of an aggressive song, or how do you do it? That's a difficult question actually. I think it totally varies on I think there's been songs that have just kind of come to me, and I thought, right, okay, well that's clearly what this is going to be about, you know, and that's and the lyrics have kind of come quite naturally. Where there are other times where you might have a hook, or you might have something in your head that thinks, oh, that's a really catchy line that works really well, and you then kind of may build your kind of the song around that in a way, and so and on the other hand as well, you have times where it can take a long time to complete lyrics because maybe you're not quite in the same headspace you once were when you first started it. And again, it's like the creative process, you know, like sometimes if you leave something too long, like finishing it can be quite hard, you know. It's like it's because the creative process is the best thing in the world, you know. You can be up there when you can be really enjoying it when you're creating, and then when it comes to finishing it can be difficult.
I think the difficulty, is the commitment, because it's like this is going to be the final thing, and then even past that, like this is going to be a physical form for as long as this piece of plastic will last. Like there's a lot of, which I think is good, to put lots of pressure and realize that this kind of, like, use the word timeless is a bit, I don't know, big-headed, but it kind of is, you know. Do you worry about I don't know, overexposing yourself and how you feel? Because it's very, like, some of the themes, you know, are like disassociation, and you're vulnerable when you're being creative. I think good art is honest and also exposing. That's what people can connect to, because, you know, I guess you're just letting your guard down. Do you, like, where's that line for you? Like, do you lay it all out on the line, or how have you grown into that as a musician, and like letting yourself like be super exposed, like, here's my ideas, here are my lyrics?
I think I've been writing songs and for quite a long time now, probably 15 years, and I think that has changed really. I think I've grown as a writer. I think I write better now than what I used to. I think there's been periods throughout my kind of writing career where I've written maybe more from the heart than I have done through other periods as well, depending on what's kind of gone on in my personal life. So I think that's kind of varied depending mainly on what's going on in my personal life. But
how do you feel with this record? So sorry to cut you off. Is this one?
That's right.
As far as like other songs and other stuff you've been a part of, is this the most exposed you've been, or have you been able to kind of guard yourself? I don't know. It's kind of an open-ended question, but
it's difficult. I'm definitely exposed because a lot of the themes on the record are very personal, with my day job and stuff like that, and how that kind of relates to my feelings about how things are currently, the current climate. But there's been stuff previous records we've done where like this kind of, you know, I've been through like breakups and stuff like that, where potentially I had been a bit more exposed. So I guess it's kind of exposure on different levels, really. But it's I do, you know, I tend to use quite a lot of metaphor with my lyrics as well, just because I love words and I love writing, and I just think sometimes, you know, I'm probably guilty of using almost too much metaphor to kind of put my guard up a little bit. In a way, that's maybe partly intentional, but maybe also just because I just love, you know, like poems and like writing and stuff. So
what do you like better when you listen to an artist? Like something that's just very cut and dry, like, you know, not as simple as like, I feel like shit today, or like stuff that's clouded in metaphor that you kind of have to work for. I love hip hop because hip hop's very like, this is how I feel. Like, it's not super metaphorical. It's not clouded in metaphor. But like personally, what do you like? What do you like better?
I think I'm probably on the opposite end of the spectrum actually to that. I do like the kind of matter of fact lyrics, especially if they resonate with you. I mean, nothing's more powerful than that. If someone's just telling it like it is, and you feel it and you believe it. But then I listen to a lot of. I mean, I love lyrics. You know, I listen to Leonard Cohen and Nick Cave, and you know, some of these great lyricists that just take you. The imagery is there, the metaphor's there, and it's, you know, they take can be something that's really simple idea and just make it like this grandiose, like huge thing. It's bigger than bigger than anything. And so people like that, Guy Garvey, the guy from Elbow as well, is another great lyricist. I mean,
it's an art in itself, man. It
really is, yeah.
And I imagine, like, I can't imagine just people who just write poetry, like in a book. There's no music behind it. There's nothing to kind of help shape it. It's just words on a paper. Do you when you create, is there a certain time? Are you a guy that like every day you need to write, or is it when the mood strikes?
I think it's more when the mood strikes. I think after when we finished the album recording process, I kind of went away for a bit from writing. I just needed a bit of a break. I picked up Ableton for a bit as well, and I was just like, I kind of found another creative thing, because I felt that I didn't really feel that I was at the end of my tether or anything. I just felt that I just needed a little bit of a break from these songs, because we'd worked so hard on them, and we were so happy with where they were sounding, and just felt like I needed another outlet to kind of exercise my creativity. And yeah, so from there, really, it really does come in moments of inspiration. And you know, if you sit and slave away, it's never going to come. But if you're on the bus on the way to work, or if you're, you know, or wherever, then that's when it's more likely to come, I think.
I was having a conversation with someone about, you know, musicians who that's their job. They pay their bills by being creative, but how, oh my God, difficult that might be to like wake up and like, all right, I'm going to be creative right now. Like how much is garbage and how much is good, or like that whole thing. I don't know. I'm a drummer and I barely write any lyrics. So I kind of have an easy job. I feel like I'm not the guy thinking of like the mood or the lyrics or like bringing it in. It's really intense. I love talking to songwriters because like I don't do it. Where do you feel like you've grown the most as a songwriter? Is it in, I don't know. That's I'm just asking myself that question. If I were to ask myself that, you doing it for as long as you have, there's probably strengths that you realize you have and weaknesses that you have. Yeah,
definitely. I think I've always been quite lucky. I mean, I moved to Brighton when I was to go to university. There's a music college in Brighton called BIM, which is like a modern music college where, and that was, I knew I wanted to do music. I went there and I surrounded myself with songwriters, you know, singers, bass players, guitarists, whatever. And it's, you know, it's incredibly inspiring, I think, when you're surrounded by like-minded musicians that have they have their own influences, and they have their own style. And I've been quite lucky ever since then, and that was a while ago now that I first came down here. And I've kind of, you know, the music scene down here is really, really busy. There's loads of stuff going on. Loads of my friends are either in bands doing this, that, and the other, or are creatives. So I've always kind of surrounded myself with, you know, inspirational people. I'm quite lucky in that sense. So picking up stuff from other people really has kind of helped me hone my craft a bit more, I think. But the kind of the foundations of what I would say are my songwriting style probably still remain from what they were 12 years ago. But it's just
the idea of like to write a good song, like that's so relative to who's receiving it, and that's part of the magic and why it's fun, I think, too, because you'll never be done. But when you think of the senior in, this is like a kind of actually a tangent here, but you guys are in London, right?
We're in Brighton. Actually.
Okay.
So there's four guys in the band. Three of us, me, Luke, the guitarist, and Rich, the bassist, are in Brighton, and Ollie, our drummer's in Guildford, which is kind of equidistant between Brighton and London. It's kind of in the middle.
Okay. Now, what I want to ask is like, so the music you guys make is good. It's good music. Like I'd like to feel that I'm confident enough to, at least for me, I know what I like and what I don't like. And you guys, this record, could do really well. You know what I mean? Like it's not harsh fucking noise for an hour. It's like crafted, good songs, sounds great. But there's like the potential for you guys to do well is there. I think more so than like, do you realize, like not realize that, but do you recognize that the ceiling of success, I think, is a little higher than if you were like a harsh noise act?
It's a difficult one, that, isn't it? Because I guess a harsh noise act, they will appeal to a specific niche, maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
And I think in doing that, yes, they're more likely to be successful within a specific niche. Whereas with what we do, it's quite, you know, it has elements of alt rock, math rock, post rock, which are three of my favorite genres. Whilst also just being quite accessible and quite kind of emo. really, and bit of punk rock in there maybe as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of sits in the middle. So you could say that there's the opportunity for like commercial appeal there. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, the answer to the question is
well, but it's like I've grown into appreciating music, and I want people who love to do it to do well in it, you know. But I'm just thinking that if the potential's there to do really well within the scene, do you feel like there's more of a competitive edge because that door is like a little more open? You know what I'm saying? Like within your scene, is it are you guys like tight and supporting each other, or do you sense a bit of like we all could do this? Because I think the appeal is a little bit broader than it's like the harsh noise type thing. I'm sure it's cool, but I don't know. I'm not of that scene.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, really. I mean, in Brighton in particular, where we all live, there's lots of bands going on. There's lots of stuff happening. There's lots of kind of pockets of bands and sounds, and like there's been like a big grunge revival that's happened in the UK over the past 5 to 6 years. That's kind of come back around again, and obviously we don't sit into that. We don't really sit within the math rock scene either. And there's a few. I mean, we use time signature changes. That happens on some of the tracks, but we don't really sound like math rock bands. We don't really sound like post rock bands. So I think one of the slight challenges for us has been, and even with our old band as well, has been trying to find a kind of where we fit. And I think that sometimes that has actually worked out quite to our advantage, but then also sometimes I think to our disadvantage, especially in like terms of like tour supports and getting on the bills with like-minded bands. Sometimes people, they want to go to a math rock show, they want to listen to math rock bands, and if someone turns up with big choruses and like vocal hooks, it's a bit like, oh
yeah.
So who are these guys?
I hear you, man. I mean, I'm kind of in a band like that over here. We're like we have a couple toes in like stoner or like mathy shit, and yeah, I feel that sort of out of placeness that is good and bad. But I really go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, I always think that you can kind of, or you can try and kind of force fit yourself into a scene or into some sort of area where, but if it doesn't feel natural, then I mean, just do what comes natural and what you feel. Obviously, you're going to express yourself best. This is what you want to sound like. This is what and if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. And it's rad when bands kind of have their own sound. That's so hard to do. Like we're all influenced by our peers and heroes and this and that. So it's really, when a band does kind of take the reins themselves and rides it out to see wherever it goes, it's commendable isn't the right word, but again, I think it's just kind of honest. It's really honest because like we have a skill set, right? And we could choose to like, I'm going to craft something that will be commercially viable just for that fact because I don't want to work a day job. And that's, if you do that, that's fine. Yeah. But I just don't relate to that because that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What do you think the record itself, like, do you hope people come away feeling optimistic or pessimistic? Because there's some heavy themes on the record. Like, I don't know. Yeah. If you took yourself into the listener's perspective, how do you think you'd feel about it?
I think at the end of it, optimistic, really. There are some quite heavy themes on the record. But the last few tracks, there's positivity. It finishes on, lyrically, it finishes on quite a positive note. It's very much kind of, there's a few like characters and kind of all sorts of stuff going on the album. And I think it finishes in quite a positive note, really, saying that there's kind of more to life than these things, that may have happened, or these kind of themes, I think it is relatively positive. But yeah, there's some pretty heavy stuff on it. Yeah.
I was gonna ask there's perspectives on the record. Like, is that fiction? Like, is that you created characters and it's like a career? Is that like personal, like you guys yourselves?
It's kind of a bit of both, really. I think there's two or three. It's difficult to say. Like, I kind of wrote the songs with characters in mind, but there's the overarching theme of kind of dissociation with the way things are, and particularly with the role of like social media and that kind of thing. And then I think there's kind of characters that are kind of interwoven within that, underneath that kind of theme. So yeah.
Do you? I have a bunch of questions here. Do you guys oh yeah, the expectations for this record, because I think it's great. I love that Adam got me in touch with you guys, and there's the videos and the vinyl, and it sounds great, and everything's all in place. The music is great. Do you have expectations? Like, are you going to be bummed out if like X amount doesn't get sold? Because I when we do albums, I have expectations, and sometimes they get met, sometimes they don't. But what are yours for this record?
I think obviously just kind of reach outside of the kind of the group of people that will follow us. Like like people in Brighton, people in London. If we can reach outside of that, like even outside of the UK as well, would be great, up into Europe and maybe over to you guys in the US as well.
Yeah.
So reaching outside of where we currently know where we sit would be good. I mean, it's a big jump for us. It's a big step up. So, but again, I've been in bands for a long time. I'm realistic. About previously I've been in bands and I've had unrealistic expectations and been disappointed. So I think we're a bit older now, a bit more realistic about it. I think we just want to reach new people. We want people to hear it. We want to play gigs, as many gigs as we can, and just get it out there, really. I mean, and people, it connects with people and people respond to it well, and that's for me as a songwriter, that's all I can ask for, really. I can't ask for anything else.
Yeah, that sounds like an answer from someone who's been doing it a long time. I feel, I don't know. It's impossible to view the world through someone else's filter and experiences, but we were all young kids, and music appealed to me, and I had this version of what it was going to be like, and when that wasn't met, it was pretty crushing because I thought it was going to be a certain way. When you were a kid, I don't know, did you... Well, I guess I could ask about how you got into it, but did you have that too? Did you like have this unrealistic thing, or do you have peers that were like, oh, it's not that way at all, or I don't know. Did you ever have those dreams crushed?
No, that would be, I don't think I'd have got over that if those dreams were physically crushed.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know really. I mean, I've been living in Brighton, going to a music college. It's quite interesting to see what people are still doing with music now, because obviously some people are still doing music, and if they are doing music, okay, what are they doing within music? Some are in like function bands, wedding bands, that kind of thing, making money through playing music that's not their own, so they're kind of not seeing it as like a creative outlet, they're just seeing it as work. Which is something that I did for a little bit. I did that for a few years. Okay. And it got to a point where I was just like, no, this isn't. I love music and I love creating. I love working on my own projects with my friends, and I think that never really worked for me. But I think it's just interesting to see what people do, and and some people that go on to be successful that we know down here, and that's amazing. A bit of right place, right time, and great songs mainly, and others that maybe just aren't willing to stick it out in a way.
Yeah.
And that,
I wonder when people stop playing. It's just a question of why. I think the sooner you are realistic with yourself, with what it's going to be, the better. Now, do you? How old are you guys? How old are you? I'm always curious because I think that does place people in certain boxes that are interesting as a musician.
Yeah, we're all like in our early 30s, basically.
Okay, yeah, it's like me.
Yeah.
Now, did you plan, like, when you're 45, where do you see yourself as a musician?
That's a good question.
I ask myself this all the time, man. Like,
mate. I need to ask myself this more, I think, or at least once.
No, yeah.
It's a difficult one, that, really, because I definitely do see myself still doing music when I'm 45, but it's I don't know where I will be in the X amount of years, I don't know, where
Mm-hmm.
whether I would still be. I mean, I will never put a guitar down. I will never,
Mm-hmm.
stop writing. But it's just how much time I might have at that stage of my life in order to be able to fully focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's one of those things that at present it's not like my full-time sole focus. So it's just trying to, but it is outside of everything else that I do. It is my 100% focus, but it's just trying to. So at the moment, it's difficult to kind of give an answer for that, really.
No, it is. It's. I think it's an interesting question because you can commit so much of yourself to a band or being a musician or even an artist, and all three of those things fuck up your life. Or it can. Relationships get strained. Money obviously is like a big issue. So yeah, to look ahead, and especially depending on what kind of style of music you're playing too, because even what you guys are doing, some people would be like, oh, this is too abrasive for me. And there it does have an edge to it. It's not like just cloudy music, But do you prep at all for the future as a musician? Like, let's say this band, you guys are doing your debut, and bands sometimes last a long time, sometimes they don't. But I don't know, I don't know. It's not even really a question you can answer, I don't think, because it's way too broad. It's an interesting topic, though.
Yeah. I think in terms of prepping for the future, really, it's so. I mean, that's a good few years away now. And it's really difficult to kind of see where things will be then. I think at the moment, it's obviously just coming up to the album release. It's I think we're just kind of taking everything as it comes. Really, we've got plans to kind of go back into the studio and just keep on writing and recording and gigging. So the next kind of year or two are we've got kind of some form of structure in place there.
Okay.
So there's stuff that's going to happen, which is really exciting, really good, especially off the back of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can maybe jump one or two rungs on the ladder with the record.
Yeah.
And then really look forward to kind of get back into writing and just and kind of pushing forward from that.
Do you guys want to do a ton of touring? Do you think that's essential nowadays?
That's a good question, actually, because I listened to the podcast you did with Adam, and you guys spoke a little bit about role of touring. Role of touring, and just playing gigs for the sake of playing gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple matter of fact really is that we can't relentlessly tour throughout the year anymore. Back maybe 5-6 years ago, that was more the case. We could go out on tour 3, 4, 5 times a year with our older band, but with this band, it's more a case of being picking and choosing, kind of being a little bit sure of places where we know people follow us and people listen to us, and kind of doing that kind of prior research before going out somewhere and chancing it. So I think we're going to tour in September. We're kind of sorting that at the moment now.
Okay.
UK and Europe, which is
cool.
going to be really good. So we're looking at that at the moment, but it's I guess just a little bit more conscientious and of our time as well. It's like so it's just
Do you Oh, there was a question I had. It disappeared. So I think making music is the best, and it's fun, and also being in a band, but then you get to play live, and that's really cool too. But how essential is that to you? If let's say you couldn't do another live gig.
Yeah.
How important is that to play live?
It's pretty important, yeah, really. I mean, I think that's how you're really going to reach people as well, and that's how you're obviously going to reach outside of that kind of pocket of people, or that people that do follow you and know you. And obviously, it's playing live is super important. So if someone turn around and say, "Okay, no, you can't play live again," it would probably be quite difficult to kind of grow outside of where we are. But yeah, really, really enjoy playing live, and been playing live for a long time, and it's still a great buzz,
Oh, when it's good, it's the best. When it's bad, if I have a bad set, it's the worst. Yeah. It's the worst. Do you have a standout gig? Let's say an intimidating gig. There's fun gigs and scary gigs, but what's one that was oh fuck?
It's a good question. When we formed Quiet Lions, in one of our first gigs was supporting rival schools.
Okay.
Do you remember rival schools?
Yeah, the name's familiar.
Yeah, they're just they're kind of like a like alternative like emo-ish band from the noughties. Anyway, that was one of our first gigs supporting them, and for some of the guys in the band, they're like our heroes basically. And it was one of our early gigs, and we were playing songs that were not really tested, and they weren't really seen the light of day. So that was quite nerve-wracking. But they were lovely guys, and it was great. It was a great experience. But it's weird whenever you play with or you meet your kind of heroes on the independent scene or the independent circuit. They can walk down the street and no one would know who they are.
Yeah.
But for you, that person is something quite special.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's. I would love to have all my heroes on this show, but I'm too afraid to ask them to come on because
give it a go.
I know I fucking should, because they're just people. But I don't know. That's a real thing though. People who inspire you, and even when you're a young teen or whatever, that's a fucking real thing, man. Someone who kind of alters your path by inspiring you to like push yourself. And I'm sure athletes have this. People have this, even with like parents or cool people in their life. So I put a lot of weight on that. So if a few times I've met some of my like heroes or whatever, I try to be as cool as I can, but inside I'm going crazy. Because it's just like, thank you, I want to say thanks, but what am I going to say thanks? No. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, weirdo, why are you saying thanks to me?
Yeah, thanks for being you,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Kind of thing. It's
Sorry, I'm just looking over here. I have a bunch of stuff to ask. Your job. Does it get in the way? Like for all you guys, do your jobs get in the way, or how do you manage that?
I think in terms of us, what you would like to do if you didn't have to work, like full-time employment, and they all do get in the way. But that's kind of the nature of the beast, really. It's kind of where we're at. I think there is an element of flexibility within everything that we all do, and there is that there, which is good. It's a bit of a pain.
But you know what? I think you have to be aware to not fuck your life up. Like as you got to work. It's not.
Cool.
A lot of the music doesn't make money, and you can be that guy who fucking lives in a jam hall and doesn't let jobs get in your way. But I don't know. That's not very.
Yeah.
That's not for me, anyways. That seems terrible for me. And I like a nice bed and a hot meal.
Yeah.
And we suffered. I'm sure you did too. When you're young, you're just like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Dump all your cash into it and just suffer.
Yeah. I think it's all about finding the right balance,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just obviously, to find a job that's flexible in line with your creative, whether you're in your band or you do whatever, finding a job that's flexible within that can be quite difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some friends that are like actors, and I think being an actor is even worse than being a musician, because you'll get called up to do like an audition tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then how on earth do you get out of work? Tomorrow is that kind of thing. I think whereas with gigs, at least, or with maybe some press, appearances or radio appearances, you a bit of notice, so you can potentially try and find a workaround with music.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bit of give and take really with work, and you've got to find a job that you like and that's flexible enough for you to be able to do the two at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think the stuff is out there, but it takes a bit of finding,
Oh, 100%, man. It's I was talking about this yesterday with my buddy about working a job that he has a job that pays really well, but it's kind of soul sucking. So It's like trying to figure out it's really trying to work for somebody who understands how important this shit is. Like I put it this way, that you can't, if someone has never eaten an orange in their life and you love oranges, you can't explain to them how good an orange is because they've never had an orange. It's like a band. Yeah. Being in a band, you can't, no matter how much you try to be like, it's really cool, it's really fun, it's a community, it's healthy. If they don't do it, they don't get it. And I've been fortunate to have jobs that are. It's funny. I work at a church as a custodian, and I play in like grindcore metal bands. And we did an album release, and our local paper, like our PR guy, got us some press. So the old ladies at the church like posted it on like the bulletin board, like my angry type of mug. So they don't get it, but they support it, and I couldn't imagine otherwise, man. Like, oh, fuck.
They're not your target market, are they? They're not the target.
No, it's they always give me a hard time about how bad my band is, but about jobs, it's just it's tricky to navigate. Do you guys I don't know, in the past, or even this band, in creating this band, is it very clear, like everyone's expectations, like, yes, we're in our 30s, here's what we're gonna do, like, or do you guys, like, depending, I guess, on how this does, would you dive deeper and like, fuck, maybe we will make this a full-time thing?
I think that's that. Yeah, I think that potentially, if something was to happen with it, I think those conversations would be had around how can we make this work, and this, that, and the other. And I mean, at the moment, all of our free time that we can get, all of our holiday, leave from work is, apologize to our girlfriends, but it's unfortunately, like,
I hear you.
Yeah, that beach holiday that we were going to have
do you guys
not happen this year.
Anyone have kids? Do you guys have kids or no?
No, no one has kids. No, we're probably not far off that sort of age, really. But it's so at the moment it's it's very much our kind of holidays, and everything we do outside of work is that. And I think if things were to kind of maybe I don't know what was to happen there necessarily, but then we probably would have those conversations and look at finding a way to make it work.
Yeah. Well, the potential's there. You never really know. Now with you guys and the record, and you'll be doing live stuff. I do agree that the live performance is something I'd really miss, and it's an opportunity to make a first impression. Blah blah blah. I'm always curious of like your setup, how long you guys might play, like. What is your take on banners? Like, there's so many things, and I think, there's opportunities to get a fan, which sounds silly, to get a fan. But how do you guys do it when you think about your live set and presenting yourselves? We're Quiet Lions. What do you guys do? What do you guys do? What's like kind of the method to maximize that 30-40 minutes?
I mean, without wanting to sound like a massive cliche, obviously, giving as much as you've got, really, putting everything out there on the line. We do our music's very dynamic, so it's very, it can be here 1 second and it can be here the next second. So we really, really try and kind of eke out those dynamics, and we do a lot of vocal harmonies as well. So we're always kind of thinking of how we can deliver we've got some big like 4-part harmony moments. Wow. We're always thinking like how we can really, really deliver those well, because that's probably, if I was to say our USP, I kind of hate that terminology.
USP? What is that? USP? I've never heard that.
Oh no, it's like a unique selling point.
Oh,
but,
I need a USP for this for my life.
It's a thing that you do that you think that you probably do better than your mates.
Okay.
With us, I think that's probably one of our our strongest things is just the harmonies. The other guys all sing in or have sung in other bands or whatever, and they're all really great singers. So
do you use in-ears? Do you guys?
We don't at the moment, but we're having potential conversations around using in-ears, because it's not easy.
Oh my
especially
God.
Especially when you need like your own individual monitor mix and you're on small stages, it really is a nightmare. Oh. But the majority of the time, I'm kind of slightly up front, and the rest all kind of sit a little bit underneath me, harmony-wise.
Okay.
But it's so I think that's one. When it comes to the live stuff, that's a big focus. And just outside of that, we don't really have any. We don't have like stage kind of gear or anything that we kind of wear, really. I mean, we are kind of all aware of those things and what we should and shouldn't wear, but we don't kind of actively have those conversations around that. And sorry,
I was gonna say it's kind of limitless, like what you could do. Like, some bands have uniforms, some bands have the fucking things over their amps that are decked out in the logo and lights and this and that. When when I think about live and I think about bands, and especially with the new record, were there things on the record that when you were writing, it was like, we need to pull this off live? Or did you take liberty to like, no, we're in a studio, we can do some tricks?
I think, yeah, I mean, we did the kind of layer up guitars and stuff like that. So there's some songs where the guitars, you know, they sound big across the entire record,
Sure,
sound really good. So yeah, we've kind of gone through stages of like rehearsals and trying to, you know, figure out how we make the guitars sound as big as they do on the record, obviously, because there's loads of layers. But other than that, really, I mean, when we went to the producer, we said to him, we want to sound like a band in a room. We want to sound really live. And yeah, you know, we want to try and make everything be able to be played with the four of us.
okay.
You know, so there's no, I mean, there's some kind of pads and stuff in the background in some of the big epic moments. There's some overdubs there. But whether or not, you know, maybe we might get them on track at some point, you know, like in the background. But at the moment, there's, you know, we don't have anything like that. But it's just, you know, we wanted to make sure we sounded on record like we do live, basically.
Was it off the floor? Did you guys do clicks? How'd you guys do it when you actually tracked the record?
When we tracked the record with the rhythm section. So Ollie, our drummer, and Rich, the bassist, they tracked the entire album over a day and a half. Just those guys together, just playing together.
No click, just kind of like.
There was a click.
Yeah, we
had a click.
Yeah.
So we had a click map track out for all the tracks. I did that, and we've experimented with all that kind of thing in the past, and just felt that with those two, kind of, they would lock in better in the same room.
Sure.
So, and then from there, we then just started layering up the guitars, rhythm guitars, lead guitars, then overdubs, and then we took it away without the vocals out of the studio, and then did all the vocals ourselves.
I saw that. Yeah. You guys, you did it differently. Yeah. Now, was that just a money thing? That's what my band will do. Like, I'll do my vocals out of all just because it saves us cash.
I think it was a money thing, but also, I get, you know, it's like a pressure thing as well. Some of the songs, we were not quite sure. Some of the sections, we felt like maybe the lyrics could change here, could do with a bit of rewriting. As you know, again, as I said, we weren't in a massive rush to get this together and to get it out. We wanted to do it right. So it was very much, let's leave the vocals off. Let's do the vocals ourselves because we've got the equipment between the four of us to be able to do them. And then let's, you know, let's go through a few iterations of to write some different verses and different choruses. And yeah, so we took our time with the vocals. So we probably spent like 6 months kind of on off, like tuning and tweaking and just like rewriting, and which from a songwriter's point of view was quite tiresome, you know, in all honesty, because you start to kind of, you need to have a break from it, and then you've got to write another verse, and you've got one word that's really annoying you, and it's like, you know, you start kind of, it's losing it a bit.
do you think that an idea or a riff or a lyric line can be salvaged? Like, I think you have a time limit, but certain ideas can get massaged into really cool things. You like, this kind of sucks, but it grows. But sometimes ideas just fall flat. Like, you know, I don't know, I guess you bounce it off the guys. Do you feel like you have good intuition to that, or are you kind of like, fuck, I don't know, I think it's cool, but I don't know?
I think you've got to be able to lean on people, you know, and just to get another opinion all the time, and you've got to be willing to take criticism as well. And just, you know, that can be quite a big thing. You know, if someone says, no, that's shit, you know, you've got to be like, right, okay, well, I respect and trust your opinion.
But you're wrong.
So, yeah. But it's, again, you know, if you're slaving over one line, or if you're slaving over all this kind of stuff, it's sometimes what you had originally is the thing, you know. Okay, and then you've gone down a rabbit hole. You don't know where you are. Like, no one else in the band knows where you are. But you've disappeared, and you're really focusing on something, and I think it probably was staring you in the face at the start.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I feel like demo-itis is a thing where the demos of things are the best because they're not you know, overthought. There's just kind of a very genuine sort of like, this was my good idea. I'm terrible with that with my drumming. I'll go over to the simplest things and then ruin parts because I've overthought it, and I should have just gone with what I originally trusted.
Yeah, as a drummer as well, sometimes, you know, just sit in the, you know, get the groove down and just sit there and just play that instead of overcomplicating it. And
I know, man. It's the fucking story of my life. Like, do I need to do more or less? I was gonna ask, did you have a certain? So the record's coming out, I guess Thursday when this thing's released, or Friday, whatever, the 14th of June.
Yeah.
But it's been done probably for a minute. When it was first done, who was the first person you showed it to?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really know, to be honest. I think maybe my girlfriend or maybe my dad. I think my dad's been a vocal supporter of all of my musical endeavors for years. So I think he definitely would have been on the list of the first few people that would have heard it. I think my best mate Ed as well, he would have been up there, people, the people that are closest to you that have kind of been there since day one and are always, the people that are going to hear stuff before anyone else. But it's
one of them.
It's been finished.
When you were demoing stuff, did you show people then? Like, do you have trusted people outside of the band that you're like, what's your take on this as a listener?
We did do a bit of that, but also mainly just to kind of get a steer from people as to what they thought, around, certain sections and stuff like that. We didn't want to even ourselves listen to it too much, really, because we knew it was going to be a lengthy process. We were like, we need to kind of keep a bit back, because if we listen to it too much now, and we will potentially struggle to see it out, So we leaned on a few people for suggestions around certain things, and Adam was one of those people we leaned on as well. Yeah,
I was gonna say, we could kind of talk about Adam real quick here. How's that relationship begin? And like, it was really cool talking to Adam about the back end of stuff. It's a real hard gig to do. Is he an old friend? Is this a first time thing, like working with Lonely Voyage? What's up?
So it's a first time thing, but it's really weird because I know a few of the bands on their label really well. It's a band called Polymath, who I know those guys really well down in Brighton. They're kind of like math rock, Mars Volta trio. So I've worked with those guys in the past, and they're obviously on the same label as Adam, Lost in the Riots, Adam's band, and then we sent them a record at the start of the year, and they loved it. They came along to a show. We met the guys, and they were really, really passionate about it. Felt the same way we did, and I think that was really that was kind of the turning point for us. Really, we were just like, these guys, lovely guys, this big group of people that we all know, and it was just weird. We hadn't actually met them previously, despite them being in almost the same circle. We just never been introduced or whatever. I don't know, but yeah.
Would now, like, how many people did you have in mind to put this out? And if nobody would have bit on the record, would you guys have committed to pressing it yourselves? Because that's such a fucking huge cost.
It's a huge cost. Yeah. I think, well, if no one would have put it out, we would have done that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because you're so far down the line, and it's, we can't just stick it out. Yeah.
No kidding. It's kind of like, fuck it, might as well.
Yeah, so we would have done that, but it was, we kind of had a couple of options, but I think we were just really, really happy to go with Lonely Voyage guys, and I think it's been a pleasure working with Adam as well, and getting to know Adam over the past 6 months or however long it is, since we met. Those guys love music, and they love kind of when they pick something up, they really want to run with it, which is great. So.
Oh man, and I think because like I don't know you guys well, but in how it's, because I'm a total outsider. I'm being presented with the music and how it's packaged and this and that, and as far as Lost in the Riots and you guys, it gives you faith in the establishment that is Lonely Voyage, because it's like, it's quality. There's a certain standard that you hope in 10 years, if there's still a label, it just becomes a thing that you can trust the label. Like, oh, I'm not gonna get some shit. I know that they curate their label well, which probably feels good, because you're gonna be attached to that, right? Like, you definitely don't want to diminish your brand or whatever.
I think it's very much about being part of the scene and part of something as well. That's really, that is often kind of more important than anything else, really, is build the sense of belonging, and like being part of a label, and just kind of being associated with other acts and being on like samplers and mixtapes and compilations and all these kind of things, and playing the shows together, and just kind of that real sense of belonging. I think in our previous band we were signed to another indie as well, and that was a big thing of it, was just here are loads of people, here are loads of really inspirational musicians and bands, and go out on tour with this band, do this, that and the other, and it's so yeah, that's and with Lonely Voyage as well. I mean, they're mainly post rock and math rock, so when we're kind of a slightly awkward fit, really, but I think it's a sign of kind of where they want to take the label. I think really they want to take it a bit more, like broaden it a little bit more. I mean, obviously Adam would tell you more than I do, but it kind of gives the impression that they kind of want to kind of expand a little bit from kind of math rock.
It's exciting, I think, and it's like I don't know, the music, playing gigs, meeting people, there's an excitement to it. It's not a drudge, like 9 to 5 kind of thing. And the whole community team type thing, it's great. It kind of like is a weird mutation. I used to play hockey as a kid, but there's like a tangible thing of being part of a team and the same goal. Like, I don't know. It's really, I guess like being a 30-year-old musician is kind of like being a 12-year-old kid playing football or hockey or something in a weird sort of way. I just want to make sure I asked everything that I wanted to ask. Well, I guess this is kind of a quick question I could ask. The ambition with the band, do you have like other bands that you look to for example, or modeling your stuff after? You take it serious, right? You've done a lot of steps, and we're even having this conversation now. Are there bands or people, or where do you get your ambition from?
That's a good question. I think that kind of spreads across a lot of bands. There's some of our, again, we obviously down here in Brighton, lots of our friends are in bands as well. I think from a live perspective, there's a band called Black Peaks who we're really good friends with, who you should definitely check out. Okay. But from a live perspective, they're amazing. So the way they put themselves across is quite inspirational, really. So I think from a live side, them. And then I don't know really. I mean, it's just we go to a lot of gigs ourselves and just look to try and really immerse yourself in the scene and just take all this inspiration and all this ambition can kind of come from that. I think really that can help. That at least can kind of help feed your own ambition. Yeah. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no. I feel like it's a lot of these questions I don't really think about. I'll ask them, and then as I'm asking them, I'm like trying to think of them, answering them myself. But it's an accumulation of probably the last 20 years or whatever, of playing, just little tidbits you pick up here and there. But it's a real thing. It's people. You want to do well. Like, I think if you care and respect it, you want it to be received well. You want to put your best effort forward, because you've been on that receiving end of like, oh, this artist really tried hard and was pushing themselves, and again, kind of ties back to inspiration. You want to inspire people, I think.
Yeah, totally.
I that's a nice byproduct of doing something for whatever reason. I don't know why I do music, really. Like, if you really were to sit down, like, why are you a musician? Why? What shortcomings did you have? Or why is there that puzzle piece in your soul that you had to fill with music?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Why do you play music?
I think, again, it's just from growing up and just, those feelings of going to those early gigs and those moments where you're just eye-opening moments. I think really, I could probably think of a few gigs where I went to it and I just thought, wow, okay, fuck, I need to be a musician, basically. I need to be doing that. I need to be expressing myself in that way. And I'm sure that you've been to gigs that stick with you more than anything, and I think those moments are the ones that kind of think, right, okay, well, that's what I need to do. Be that, And from then on,
it's crazy because we all could have done something, anything. I could be really into flying kites. Like, there's some people who just fucking that was their puzzle piece. I don't get it, but I don't know. It's such a stoner question. Like, fucking, why do you like music, dude?
It's like when you meet someone and they know you're in a band and they're like, okay, well, what do you sound like? Just like, here's a question that I feel that I should ask. which I'm just going to kind of throw at you. And who do you sound like?
Yeah,
or,
I know.
Just because, and that's totally fine. It's a fun question to ask.
I feel like that question, like, oh, you're metal like this.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you don't play music, because like my music buddies don't ask me that question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, dude, I do these about this long. This actually went by pretty fast.
Yeah.
And then I play a track. I do this hip-zine thing. And
Cool.
I figure kind of I don't know. Did you guys have a lead single? Now, I was going to pick Echo Chamber because it's got the video.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Was that like the lead single off the album?
That was the first single, yeah, because we
Okay.
just thought we'll hit with a punch with that one.
Okay.
And then there's another track called Wasteland.
Okay.
I can send you that. I can send you that as well, so you can have a look at that.
Sure.
But I think Echo Chamber is probably a good one to kick it off with.
I think that would be good too. Also, just because I have a newsletter, and then I'll send the video with that later in the week to help push it. But yeah, like I feel like that's a good. This has been a bit of an introduction to people who don't know you guys, and that track kind of leading as the first single, I think is a perfect sort of introduction to the band. So let's do that.
Yeah. Nice one, man.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll edit it, but this is Echo Chamber by Quiet Lions right here. Yeah.
That's it.
So this is gonna come out. I'm gonna make sure I got the dates right. This is on the 14th. So Friday. So you're listening to this on Monday, and this Friday it comes out.
Yeah.
How do people get it? How do people find the record?
So it'll be on. You'll be able to buy it on Bandcamp. That you'll be able to buy the vinyl on Bandcamp from the Quiet Lines shop and from Lonely Voyage shop as well. So stocked on both of those platforms. Stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon MP3, all of the usual places there. Buy it from iTunes. So yeah, your usual standard platforms really.
It's quietlines.co.uk, is that the page?
Yeah.
The homepage? Yeah. Okay. People can find it there. And yeah, man, it's a great record. It's I'll have people on and we don't know each other, but it was kind of like the Lost in the Riots where it was a cold call, but it's like, oh, this music's great. So it's easy to like talk about great music, to pick your brain. And I don't know. I think that's about it, man. It's yeah, shit, really rad to talk. And
yeah, good man.
I hope it goes well, man. Like maybe I'll see you guys in Canada. That'd be crazy.
Wow, is that you're based in Canada, right?
Yeah, Canada. Yeah, I hit the Budweiser thing, but yeah, we'll have a Budweiser in Canada. I'll buy it if you make it. I'll buy it.
Whereabouts in Canada are you?
Outside of Toronto, like like an hour out. This town called Cambridge. It's not like a big town, but basically kind of Toronto.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks so much for having me on.
Man, cheers. Yeah, I'll tag you when this thing goes up and let you guys know how to share it. But yeah, people listening, grab the record, support this guy so he can do it when he's 60, 65, 70.
And some.
It all starts here.
Yeah.
All right, cheers,
Cool.
Michael. Thank you so much, man.
Cheers, man. See you in a bit.
Cheers. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, Lonely Voyage has been providing me with some cool shit so far. Hopefully you guys dug the track and buy the record. Buy digitally, buy the vinyl if you guys want. Very rad. Let me shout out these sponsors really quick and get this done. Let me just open up the file. Okay. So yeah, follow these guys on Instagram and Facebook and all that shit. Brewed biscuits, all natural spent grain pet treats. Go to twospentgrains.ca. They have the 3 types: peanut butter, pumpkin sweet potato, apple cinnamon. It's good pet treats. I could go through the whole thing, but you heard it at the beginning of the episode. Heartbeathotsauce.com, the hot sauce that you'll love. Delicious. They have a new pineapples fucking sauce that's coming out. The best hot sauce I've ever had. Easily. Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota. Find him on Facebook. 3121 King Street, East in Kitchener. If anyone you know is thinking about buying a car, go see Kevin Rigo. Love this guy. IroncladGraphics.com. Provide me with the t-shirts, and they can provide you with anything. I got patches. If you guys actually want to hit me up, I got some Kife Life patches. They were on my Instagram. Pins. Everything. Mugs, these guys do everything. IroncladGraphics.com. DapperBeardOil.com for your beard oil. Use that promo code TakerWide. Free ship. One word, save on shipping. WellingtonBrewery.ca provided the beers. I was sipping on the Upside IPA for this episode. Tay, come here. Come here, bud. Come here. Here. I need you to say something.
To who?
To the listeners. Say, I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
And buy my dad's merch.
Buy my dad's mods.
Buy my dad's merch.
Buy my dad's mods.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, go to takeaway.com where you can get the shirts and all that shit. And that's it. See you guys next week. Have a good week. Call your parents. Tell them you love them. All right, bye.